Right. So today we'll have a geometry workshop. So before we going into the more details and all this performance testing or non-functional testing, I would say rather, is one of the dark area in software testing. We all are like software testers. We are like day in, day out. We are doing lots of different kind of testing on our application, and we are very good with that. But when it comes to the non-functional testing, when you remove the UI from whatever you are testing, lots of people have some fear. Okay, what I should do? I cannot do that, or I don't know what to do, and all this thing because we don't have UI. What we need to do is we just need to deal with all the backend things, all the requests, response, and everything. So there are a lot of fear around that. And on the other hand, if you see, this thing is very easy and very interesting when you are doing this non-functional testing. So we have thought, let's have one session where we can just showcase some of the things that you can do with performance testing. We are taking the tool as JMeter, as this is most widely used tool, and lots of you are using it or learning it. So it will be very very good for everyone to get more insight on that. So with that, let me start with this JMeter workshop. I'll start with just introduction of the speaker. So I myself, Shailesh Kohel and Rishil Bhatt will be driving this workshop. I am working with Amblex, which is formerly known as the Novas Technologies. I am working as a principal consultant with more than a decade of experience, and as of now, I'm heading the QA vertical with Amblex. I have experience working with different areas in QA, that is functional testing, automation, performance, and all this thing. Along with me, I have a Rishil Bhatt, who is working as a lead consultant with Anblex. He is expert in functional testing, test automations, VAPT, security testings, and all. He has very good interest in blogging. He is running his own blog, which is testing journal, which is very interesting. You can get very good insight on that. And he is an EV trader. So that's something all about speaker. Coming to the agenda, we will start with what is performance testing. So we are considering that all of you are like just at a zero level at performance testing, and we are just starting with that. Although some of you are already working on this, we know that. But so we'll start with what is performance testing, installation of JMeter, plugin manager, different components of JMeter, and then we'll start with recording the script, how to enhance that script with correlations that using regex and JSON path explorator. How you can design your own load model. So once your script is designed, how you can design the load model and inject the load. And at the end, we'll be explaining about the reports, the different kind of reports in JMeter, which are summary report, aggregates, and HTML reporting. So that's our agenda for that. The learning objective of this particular workshop is when you will be ending up with this workshop, you will be well versed with what is the non-functional testing, what is performance testing, and all this thing. What is how to install the JMeter, which are different features of the JMeter, and what is components of it, how to record the script in JMeter. You should be able to work with the regex and JSON path extractor, and you will be able to analyze the JMeter report and explain that to your management, your customer, or something, which is one of the daunting area. So that's the overall learning objective. We will try our best to cover each and every detail on these things. A few of the things we will be showcased doing the hands-on with JMeter. Few of these things will be directly showcasing in the script, considering the time constraint with us. So let's start with the performance testing. What is performance testing? So performance testing is one type of non-functional testing wherein we deal with backends. We are not doing anything on functional side. What we are doing is we are just going with the non-functional thing. So security is one of the testing, and there are other also. So performance testing is one type of non-functional testing wherein We check the speed of your portal, speed of your website. We check the response time. We check the reliability, scalability, and stability of the software program under the expected workload. Now, when we say the expected workload is number of users, how many users should be, how many users will be just accessing the particular portal. So that's something we consider when we are doing the performance testing. Response time or speed, portal speed or the response time is the one of the area that we check. So how to measure the response time? So when we talk about performance testing, it's all about sending requests to the server and receiving the request. So what is the time between sending a request and receiving the response? We measure that time for one user, we measure that time for multiple users, and which is the response time with us. So that's something we all do whenever we access any web portal or any website. We say, okay, the website is slow or website is fast based on the response. So whatever we'll be doing, we need to deal with this request and response thing. So that we are going to do today. So there are performance testing is obviously we already discussed. We are checking the bottleneck or we are checking the response time, page speed, etc. of our web portal. But when we say performance test, it's a huge area and there are different types of performance testing. So based on your requirement, what you want to do, based on your requirement, you need to choose that which kind of performance test you want to do. You can choose one or more than one or all the type of performance testing. So let's take a brief idea on which are the different types of testing. So first one is the load testing. We'll check that how much load my system can take, how with under which load my system will work well. So let's say it's like up to 200 users. I'm assuming my site will have a 200 user load. What I want to check is up with the 200 users load, what should be my response time? I don't want to go beyond 200. It's only 200 thing. But other than that, let's say I want to check for the stress testing. That means till what particular load my system will sustain. So, I mean, the picture shows you that, okay, that's something is a TMT test and you are just starting with like different with different speed set. You go with speed level 1, 2, 3. So up to which level you can sustain. So I start with 5 users, 50 users, 100 users, 200 users, 500 users. I'll check at which number of virtual user or with which type of load my system started giving the error, it started misbehaving or something like that. So we can say my system is able to sustain to 500 users. The third one is the endurance testing. Endurance testing is something you apply for some load and then you continue with that load for some amount of time. So let's say load testing is something I have my site, my user came to my site, visit site, and then it will go. But it is more on the like some of the like online shopping. User came, do the shopping, and gone. But if you consider Facebook or Instagram, so what you all are doing, you log into the Facebook and you are there. You are there for an hour. You are there for an 5 hours, 10 hours, based on your availability of time and all. So when you logged into the Facebook and you are logged in and there for 2 hours, within 2 hours, you are doing some activities randomly, but you are still logged in. So let's say I have 200 users, 200 users has been logged in and they are there on the site for next 1 hour, 2 hours. So we check that. Okay, when we have users that those are onboarded on my site for that much of amount, what should be my result? What should be my response time? So for that, we need to check the endurance testing. So based on what type of application you have, what type of check things you want to test, you need to choose your load testing type. Another thing is spike testing. Most of us are very much aware about that thing. Like we do have this all of the spike in this stock markets and also it's a similar thing. Like 5 users are using my site, then 10 more users came, then 10 more users came. Then all of a sudden there are a site of 500 users. So what should happen in that case? My system should be able to sustain with all these requests. My system should be able to serve all these requests. So we need to use the spike testing. Another thing is the volume testing. Volume is a number of data. When you are doing the load testing with a database which has a 5 MB of data, and another thing is you have a database with a 5 terabyte of data. So in both the cases, your performance will be different. So you might need to check with the whole huge volume. You might need to check with the huge volume of data you are injecting. So that's a volume testing you need to check with. So these are the different types of load testings. Why we need to do is, just take an example. Last week we have a huge sale on Flipkart and Amazon, like big billion sales or all this thing. So what they have done, a week before, there might be 5,000 users coming per day or 10,000 users coming per day on their site. But in last week, they have millions of users coming on that particular site. So what if they have not done the performance testing with 1 million users and they are only just going with the 10,000 users? What would happen is, on the launch of that big billion, their Flipkart site got crashed. So what will be there? It will be a loss of a lot of business, lots of money and all this thing. So for that thing, we need to do the performance testing. Another thing is, you might have come across some websites or some web mobile application or something which you started using or you installed, and after some time you just move out of that particular site or you uninstall that particular mobile application because it is slow. So what happened is, with the slowness, you are losing your users. So why we require the performance testing? Because the failure can be costly. But at the other hand, there are n number of different examples wherein people have get so much benefits while they have done very good performance tests, and they have increased their page speed. That get them more users, they get them more business and all these things. So this is why we need to start with the performance test. So with that, let's move ahead. So very first thing is the installation, because we are going to work with JMeter. So very first thing we need to do is we need to install the JMeter. How to do that? I'll not take much of your time on that thing. What we need to do is, you need to go to the JMeter website, which is jmeter.apache.org. As JMeter is the tool, open source tool provided by Apache organization. So go to the jmeter.apache.org and go to the download URL. I have given this URL over here. You need to download JMeter zip file, or there will be a binary file, binary file which will be in the gzip or the zip format. Depend on the system you are using. If it is Windows, you can go with the zip. It is Linux or some Mac machine, you can go with the tar file and all. Extract that zip file. Once you extract it, just go to the bin folder and open jmeter.bat file. So let me quickly show you an example. So I have downloaded that zip file in the morning. What I'll do is I'll extract that. Once I'll extract, I'll go to my bin folder, and I do have this jmeter.batch file. I just need to double click on that and my JMeter will start it. Another thing is, you can go to the command prompt. You can go to this particular bin file level, and you just need to write JMeter. And it will start your JMeter thing. So I have my JMeter started. I can do whatever I want with this particular JMeter thing. So this is how you can install and start the JMeter. Now JMeter has various components, but other than that, there are some other plugins also available, which all the third-party people has written and provided. Earlier, what we need to do is we need to download the jar file for each of those plugins, and we need to copy it into the JMeter lib folder. But now we do have the JMeter plugins manager. With plugins manager, you can select your add-ins and you can directly add that. When you install the JMeter, you go to the option, you won't have any option for the plugins manager. So what you need to do, you need to just install that plugin manager. I'm closing my JMeter for a while. You need to go to this jmeterplugins.org, wiki.plugins manager. From there, you can install a plugin manager jar. So I do have downloaded jar over here. So that is a JMeter plugins manager 1.4.jar. What you need to do is you need to go to a JMeter lib and ext. You need to copy this particular jar file over here. Once you are done with that, go to your bin folder and start JMeter again. So I have my JMeter open. When I go to the option, I can have this plugins manager. When you go to the plugin manager, you will have install plugins, available plugins, and any upgrades available. Go to the available plugin, and whatever plugin you want to install, you can install from here. So you just need to check the checkbox and apply changes. The plugin will be installed in your JMeter. So that is very much required thing, that you should have the plugins manager installed. I got some chat. All right, so this is how you can going with the JMeter installation. So now, as we do have this JMeter installed, we have this menu. It's like all the common software. We have those menu, run, clean, and all this thing. Now, JMeter is something where you need to do very minimal, or I would say no coding. You don't need to write much of code, but most of the things are related to the configuration. So we need to understand each and every component, each and every element of JMeter, how you can use. So whenever you start your JMeter script, let me maximize. Just increase my font size so you guys can do it, show it. Okay. So whenever you start JMeter, by default you will have the test plan. This is one of the element, JMeter element. Along with that, we have different elements. So let's take a look at that. Let's understand the terminology that we are going to use in this workshop as well as the further workshops. So with that, let me start with the JMeter elements. So very first thing will be the JMeter test plan. Whenever you start any project, you will see the test plan in the JMeter like this. So this is your project. Inside that you will have all the other components. So that's a test plan. Inside the test plan, you will start with the thread group. Thread group is nothing but your control room, your folder. Inside that you have all the rest of the components available. So you need to work with all the different components. You should have the sampler, controller, sessions, and all. But all the things will be there inside the thread group. There can be one thread group. There can be the multiple thread group in the JMeter. Test plan will be only one because it's a project. Inside the project, we can have multiple thread groups, right? So that's one particular element. The next one is the sampler. So another thing is a sampler. Sampler means we want to test our applications. What is that? How we access the application? We are accessing via HTTP or HTTPS protocol. We'll write http://www.google.com or your application.com. So HTTP is one of the protocols. So you should go with the HTTP sampler. So it's a type of request. There can be another type of request which can be FTP, it can be SMTP, it can be a JDBC request where you want to just fetch data from a database via some query. So sampler is inside the thread group. You need to start putting the sampler. Sampler is nothing but the request. So when you write www.google.com, that is your one request. If you write www.google.com/login, so it's a login request that you are sending to the server. So we call it a sampler. Another thing is a controller. Controller is how you want to execute your test execution or how you want to group your test execution. I have, let's say, 5 requests. Now I want to execute these 5 requests only one, at least one request at a time. All the requests I want to execute in loop or something. So we will use the controller. We'll see each of the element one by one. But first, let's understand the terminology. Other thing is the assertions. Assertions is nothing but a checkpoints, because like we do have this checkpoint, we do have the expected result that we check against our actual results. When we are writing our automation code, we do have the assertions. Similarly, JMeter also has the assertions in place. When after you record your script or create your script, you might need to check whether I have this thing in my response. This should be my response code. What is my XML format? What is there in my HTML format? So all the assertions are there in JMeter that you can use. And the timers. Now timers is nothing but the delay. So why we need a delay? Because I just capture a script. Like the script is, I go to the flipkart.com, then I log in, I search for a product, let's say OnePlus phone, and I select that phone, I add to the cart and do the payment. Now when I run that script, it will run sequentially. It will open the Flipkart, it will send a login request. After that, it will just send the request to search a product and the add to cart. So one by one product. But when you do that, actually what you will do is you will go to the Flipkart, you just watch the screen, read few of the things, and then you will search with your search query. It's a OnePlus phone. Then you go through the search result, you check various models available. So to do all these things, you are taking some time. After reading the card, you enter your address, enter your payment details. Again, you take some time. You are not sending any request to the server, but you are just doing sitting idle and doing some activity. So what is it? We call it a think time. In performance testing term, we call it a think time. And it should be there in your script as well. So between two particular requests, let's say login request and add to cart request, there should be some think time. Then and then you can mimic the actual user behavior and you will have the more accurate results. Otherwise, if all the requests are going one by one, you might get not the accurate result. You will get the good results, but it's not the actual user behavior. So what we do is we use the timers to delay, to create the delay. JMeter has different types of timer, which is random, Gaussian, etc. Another thing is config element. So there are so many things that we need to config. Like we can use the cache manager. So every time with each new iteration, with each new executions, I want to clear my cache, because every users will be working on the different machines. So they won't have any cache available when they are surfing that site for the first time. Similarly, we do have the cookie manager, and there are lots of different config elements. We'll see one by one. There will be the listeners. So reports, graphs, charts, etc. will be under the listeners, and there will be the pre-processor and post-processor. Pre-processor and post-processor you will be using to execute or to trigger some of the event before your actual load script execution. So these are the basic JMeter elements. As you are now aware about the terminology, you can see when you right click on thread, you will have this add option and all these things. See, thread is there, config element is there, listeners, timers, preprocessor, post-processor, assertions, etc. When you select a thread, when you like open a thread group, inside the thread group, you will have the controller and sampler. So in the sampler, you have different options: HTTP, flow control, debug, bean shell, FTP, JDBC, and like that's lot many sampler. Similarly, controller, if controller, transaction controller, etc. So all these things are under test plan and thread group. Again, preprocessor, post-processor, assertion. These are all the assertions that JMeter provides. Different type of timers, config elements, CSV data config set, header manager, cookie manager, cache manager, etc., and listeners. So these are the things that are provided by JMeter. So let's move on to the JMeter element. So these are the different type of JMeter element that you can use or you will be using. So let's start with all the elements one by one. So very first we need to understand is the sampler. So we have created a test plan. We have added a thread group. Now I want to test an HTTP site. I will go with HTTP sampler. If I want to go with the JDBC, I want to read some data from database, I'll go with the JDBC sampler. So there are various types of sampler available in JMeter. We'll take a look at some of the one which is something most required. The first one is the HTTP or HTTPS sampler. 90% of time we'll be working with HTTP or HTTPS sampler, because we will be mostly checking the performance test of web application or the web portal. So we do have HTTP sampler, we do have FTP sampler. So via JMeter, let's say you want to fetch some data from FTP server, or you want to store some data into your FTP server, you can use the FTP sampler. Another thing is JDBC sampler. So while and you can combine two sampler also. So let's say I have open google.com and now I want to inject some data from some database, or I want to read data from some database. What I will do is I'll use the JDBC samplers. I saw someone has raised the hand. Guys, after completion of that particular thing, we'll have a Q&A round, and where I'll be entertaining all your questions. So that time you can raise your hand. So JDBC sampler is something to read or write the data from database. JMeter supports multiple types of database, be it a MySQL, SQL Server, Postgres, and so many different type of databases. So you can work with that. If you want to send an email, if you want to receive an email from your JMeter script, you can use the SMTP sampler. WebDriver sampler. I have written my code, Selenium code, and I want to run that code via JMeter. I want to run that code via JMeter with 10 different users or 1000 different users. I can do that via WebDriver sampler. And similarly, we do have the debug sampler. Debug sampler will debug your script. So in my script, I have defined some variables. I'm fetching data from CSV or via regex extractor or JSON path extractor. And I want to make sure that, okay, all my variables are getting the proper data. The extraction is working fine. What I'll do is I need to use the debug sampler, which will show me all the dynamic value of my data. So these are the different JMeter sampler. Let's take a look at some of the samplers. So what I have done is I have test plan inside the thread group. Now what I'll do is I'll go to add and sampler. So I have flow control action, HTTP request, debug sampler, JS223, JMS, FTP, JDBC, SMTP, all this. What I'll do is HTTP request. So you can record your script. You can without also manually create your script. So this is the HTTP request. These are the different components. It starts with the name. You can give any name. So this is the HTTP request, the current name. I'm just providing a name. It's a first JMeter HTTP request. So I'll have this name change. Okay, now it's changed. Comments, if you want to put any comments, this is for the information only. These are very important. We have two tasks, basic and advanced. Let's check a basic. You need to give your server name and port. So most of the server, not most, but all of the server are running on the IP and the port. So you need to provide your IP or the server name. So you can provide like that, like this, the .122. This is my server where my application is running, or I can have www.google.com. So this is my base URL or the server on where this is on this server. My request will be sending. If there is any port, you can give this port number over here, and by default it will be HTTP. If you want to put HTTPS, you can do it over here. So this is my server detail. Second thing is, what is the type of request? I'm sending a GET request, POST request. So GET, POST, delete, put, it is not only for the APIs. Whenever you open any site, there will be a GET and POST, etc. requests. So you need to select whether it's a GET request, POST request, put, delete. The options available are post, head, put, option, press, delete. So whatever type of request method, JMeter will provide you that. I am going with the GET. Now, what I need to do, I need to pass my server. So www.google.com. Sorry, that's the server. Now I need to provide the path. So after Google, let's say I want to go to login, or it's a login.php, or it's a login.aspx, whatever is the path, you need to provide the path over here. So here only your base URL, and after URL, whatever path is there, you need to provide the path over here. If there is nothing, you can put the slash. Now, this is all about the GET. there are some parameters which is not there as of now, but if there are something, let's say query string ID equals to 2, something like that, then I need to have the parameter. So I can have the parameters like this, ID and value is 2. So you can put it over here or you can put it over here. It will be work as a query string. If you have, we don't have anything in body data, it won't be open because it's a GET request. If I select the post request, I'll have this body data. Let me first delete this. And I can provide my body data. It can be XML, JSON, whatever type of data is there in your site. So you need to do that. So I have created my HTTP request. Now, when I send this request to google.com, what JMeter will do is it will send that request, and once I'll get the response, first response from Google, it will consider that okay, this is the time to serve that particular request. But what happened? Let's see. I'm opening my network tab. Now here, google.com, I'm opening. So when you open google.com, you can see there are many things which server is sending. So this is the google.com request. Very first response I got from this. After that, I got some kind of JPG or PNG images. I'll get CS, all the CSS, JavaScript, and all this. These are all the supported files. Now, when I go with this setup, JMeter will only wait till this google.com request will get the response. That 200 is the response code, and I'll get the response. So it's only 252 seconds. But overall, if you see, is this many seconds system has taken. What you need to do for that is you need to go to the advanced and retry all embedded resource. You need to check that. If you are not checked, you will get the first response, and your JMeter will display the response time for that. So there will be huge difference in your performance result when this checkbox is checked and not checked. That is one of the very important things that you need to follow. So this is the HTTP sampler. Now similarly, we can have some other sampler as well. Let's go with JDBC request. I want to fetch some data from my JDBC request. So what I'll do is, I do have query type. So it will be select statement, update statement, callable, etc. I'll go with the select statement. I'll write my query. So let me try with this localhost. I have set up a MySQL data. Now I do have this JDBC sampler database, and this is one table. That's a trainer, and these are the name. So I have name and city, 2 tables are there. I want to write a query to this particular table. What I'll do is, name is the trainer. So I can run this particular query, and let me add one listener so we can see our results. We'll explain in detail, but here we can see a result. So for this JDBC request, variable name of pool declared in JDBC connection configuration. What it is expecting over here is there should be a JDBC connection configuration first. I need to tell JMeter that this type of database I want to read from, whether it's a MySQL or Postgres or SQL Server or anything else. This is the table, and this is my database server URL or database server credentials. What I need to do is I need to go to the thread group and see what is this. The name is the JDBC connection configuration. So something I need to go with from the configuration. I'll go to the config element, and I have a JDBC connection configuration. Now I'll go with all this default stat data. What we need to do over here is we need to provide the database URL or JDBC driver class, username and password. So database URL it is a, as it is a JDBC, start with the JDBC colon MySQL and the URL. So what I'll be using, I have just copied over here for you. We need to put JDBC colon MySQL colon, then I'll go with my local host 3306 as a default port. If there is another port, you can give that, and the table name, sorry, database name, not the table name, whichever database you want to use. So what I'll do, I'll copy this over here, and my database name is JDBC sampler. So what I'll do, I'll copy. I'm copying from here, so I won't have any issue with the mismatch in name or case or something. Second thing is a driver class. So JMeter will not able to do anything without a driver. So there are different type of drivers available. So com.mysql.jdbc driver for Postgres, for Oracle, for IngressDB, Microsoft. There are so many drivers. So I will use the com.mysql.jdbc driver. When you will do that, your script will fail, because what we need to do, we need to have this driver installed in the my JMeter file as well. So this is a MySQL connector Java, and is version.jar. So I need to use that particular jar. So what I can do is, I'll go to this particular URL and I'll download that particular jar. From this URL, you need to install the jar file. So MySQL connector, I should have. I'm waiting. Thread group. Inside the thread group, I'll add JDBC sampler and the JDBC config. This is my database URL. I have this connector over here. If I go to lib, is a MySQL connector to Java. It's already over here. So I'll select this MySQL connector.jdbc.driver. Now username and password. So this is username and password of my database server. Okay. And the variable name for this created pool, I am giving it a MySQL. I need to save my script first, otherwise it won't allow me to log in to execute. So I'm putting in my desktop only. Now I'll go to my JDBC request. I'll give the name MySQL and select star from I run this. let me open my sampler script. So I have all the sampler available. Let's start with this JDBC, and I have a view result tree where it will show my result. This is the fetch data. This is my JDBC request. Select star from trainer. Fetching data for trainer, and when I go to the response data, I'll have this thing. So this is how you can use your sampler. Other than that, other than HTTP and HTTPS, we do have samplers, which is JUnit request. You can have the WebDriver sampler also. So again, for WebDriver sampler, if I run this again directly, it won't run. Let me disable that and my WebDriver sampler. Now, when I run this, it won't run, and here see, I'll get the error. Here I don't have any result because the error is it doesn't get that any driver information. See, error while processing because of this. So we need to add another config, which is Firefox or Chrome. Let's see how we can do. Go to the thread group and config element. Here you have this Chrome driver, Firefox driver. Now you can see this jp@gc. So when you open JMeter for the first time, you won't have these options available because I have added it via the JMeter plugins. So you need to do that. Now I have added Firefox and Chrome plugin. I'll enable the Firefox plugin. You don't need to do anything. It will be, you can go with the whatever default values are there. So when we run this again, it will launch my Firefox browser. So what all the things I have done is I have taken this WebDriver sample, and inside that you just need to write the code the way you are writing in your Selenium. You can select the language, whether it should be Java, Bash, JavaScript, JXL, EXL, whatever. So I selected Java and WS. So you don't need to define your driver object. WBS is the default one that you can use. So WDS.sampleResult.sample start. That's very first thing you need to write. So it will start taking the samples. It will tag of your request. Okay, so that's the very first thing. Second one is a wds.browser.get. So these are the command that you need to use, and the sample result.sampleN. So what it will do, it will open a google.com in Firefox browser and capture the time between like sending the request for google.com and receiving the response via the JMeter script. So this is how you can use the WebDriver sampler. Sometimes you need to use that as well. Similarly, if you want to go with the FTP request, so we do have sampler, so thread group sampler, and we do have the FTP request. When you open the FTP request, you need to provide your FTP path, and you need to provide the username and a password for that. With that, what it will do, it will get the data from FTP. So whatever data you want to fetch, this is the file name. So what I'm doing is, it's a remote file, and this is the local file. So from here, I'm getting the data from this particular location to my local file. So it will download this FTP data.txt from FTP to my machine. So this is how the FTP sampler you can work with. Let me go back. So these are the common sampler that you need to use. HTTP or HTTPS is the most important one. We need to focus more on that. Other samplers are you can use as and require. So FTP and JDBC, that's something you will be using, not the other ones. So what we have done is we have created a test plan. We have added a thread group, and inside the thread group, I have my request available. So what I'll do is let me open a new project inside the test plan, thread group, then I have a sampler HTTP request, and here I'll go with www.google.com. I'm adding one more listener also, so you can see the result. And when we run, it's a HTTP request. I'm renaming it to the Google. Now we do have this Google request. So I have run it for the 2 times and I have this request. This is for the clearing your result. Everything will be clear and you can run it again. So only Google is there. If I have more than one request, I can have that thing. So let me copy this. Next. Let's say Google and Google One, 2 types of requests, same URL. This is just for the reference only. Now when we run, it will run both the requests. I'm going to add another listener. This is my aggregate report. And now when I run it again, I have 2 requests, and this is my average time and everything. We'll see this in detail. As of now, you just need to focus on the sampler and average. So what we have done is we have added a different sampler and we are getting the result. Now I want to configure my samplers. So what I'll do is I want to put it into the different containers. So these containers are nothing but the controllers. So what is that JMeter controller? It lets you define the order of the processing in your request. There are different types of controller available in JMeter. One is the simple controller, then the transactions, loop, random, recording, and throughput. I'll first show you that I want to put both my two requests to some controller. So what I'll do is go to the thread group, add logical controller. These are all the controller available. We'll see a few. So I'll go with the simple controller. It's a normal folder. It won't do anything. I can drag and drop both the requests inside this. And I have the simple controller available. I save my file and I run it again. This is my result tree and this is my aggregate report. So you can say this Google One and Google Two. So this is what the simple transaction. Now what I want is I want to get the overall time for both the requests. So for that, what I need to do is I need to take the transaction controller. It measures overall time taken to solve all the requests it contains. So what we'll do is I'll go to the thread group, again logical controller and the transaction controller. Now let's copy both of these into a transaction controller, and I'm disabling that. So Control T I'm using to enable and disable toggling thing. Now I'll clear my script. I'll go to the aggregate report and I'll run. Now there are 3 different rows. You can see Google One, Google Two, and transaction controller. So this is the overall time that system took to serve all these requests. So you can have one transaction controller or the multiple transaction controller. Let's say login, then add to cart is another activity, payment is another activity. For 3 different activity, I can have the 3 different controllers, which can be the transaction controllers. Then there is a loop controller. I want to, let's say, execute my request for 2 times, 3 times, or infinite time. So I can use the loop controller as well. So go to the thread group, logical controller, and select the loop controller. Now what I'll do, I'll disable transaction controller. In loop controller, I have both the requests available, and here is a loop count. I want to go infinite or 1. Let's go with the 3. clear everything, check result, view result tree and run. It should run 3 times. See. So I have 3 results for both, 3 users for both. So whatever number of time you want to go, you can go with this loop controller. Other than loop controller, there is a random controller. So random controller is I have 2 requests or 200 requests. At a time, I want to execute only 1 request randomly. Nothing, no, not everything. So what we'll do is we can go with the random controller. So depend on your requirement, you can decide which controller you should choose. So sometimes you want to just check that any one user will come and he or she will use only 1 request. Now we have Google 1 and Google 2. Now I'm opening view result tree. See, Google 1 is only executed, right? I'm executing it again, so one more row will be, one more record will be available over here. So see Google 1, Google, so randomly anything. So I have only 2, so either of them it is taking. If I have like 100, then also it will take the 1 request only. So that's a random controller, recording controller and throughput controller, which are again like most important. So transaction controller is something that we use most of the time. Then the throughput controller also. So how you can use the throughput controller? So let's say I have, I have 3 different things to do. One is login, another is add to cart, and then payment. Now, what I want is with login, I want to check with, let's say 30 users. This is something I want to check with 10 users and payment with the 5 users. Or what I can go with, it is something, let's say 60% of user load will go in the login. Add to cart, I have, let's say 30% and payment is 10%. Because when actual user will use the site, not everyone will do the payment. Few will log in, see a few things, and they'll come back. So ratio is 60%. So 60%, let's say I want to go with 100 user load. So 60 users will do only login, 30 users will do the add to cart activity, and only 10% user will do the payment. So if I want to do the things like that, what I can do is I can use the throughput controller. Go to the thread group, sampler, and throughput controller. Throughput controller, I need to now see throughput 1.0 and percentile execution. It can be total execution. So I can write whether it's a 1, 2, 3, what is the percentage, and based on percentage that many user will go. So if I am going with, let's say 10 user over here, and for this throughput controller I have put, let's say 20, so only 20% user will be go. So out of 10, 20 is 2 user will go to that controller. So this is a throughput controller that you can use with a JMeter. And the last but not least is the recording controller. This is to record your script. So we have learned how to create our first project, what are the different components, which is a test plan. Inside that there would be a thread group. There can be one or multiple thread group. And inside the thread group, we can have a request. Now we cannot add all the requests manually, as we have seen over here. Google. When I open only Google homepage, this many requests I get. Let me clear that. And if I select Yahoo.com, so now see number of requests. So we cannot like add all these requests manually. So what we need to do, we just need to use the JMeter recorder. So to record that, let me go with the new project. Inside the test plan, what first thing I'll do is I will add the thread group, and then I'll go to the test plan. I'll add the recorder. When you go to the known test element, you will have the HTTP or HTTPS script recorder. You can select that and you will get this screen. So this is to start the recording on which port you need to listen. So JMeter cannot directly record from browser. What we need to do is we need to create a proxy. We need to just redirect JMeter via that proxy. So whatever request I send to the server, it goes via proxy. JMeter will capture that. So I need to go to my browser and start some proxy. So I'm using Firefox for that. In Firefox browser, you can go to the option and you can enable the proxy. If you don't know, you can search with proxy and go to the network setting. Here by default there will be no proxy. I'm selecting manual proxy. If you are using your machine only, choose the localhost and whatever port you want to use it. Make sure that port is not in use. So 8080 is the port that generally we use, or when you open that with Firefox with JMeter, it will be a 8888 port. So I'm going with the 8080 here, and I'm just changing this to 8080. This is something I have done, and this is my test plan element. So here you can select the target controller. If I expand, I have test plan and thread group, because it's the thread group, and the HTTPS test script recorder where I want to capture my script. So I'll go with the test plan and thread group. Grouping, if you want to group your requests, so do not group sampler will be there by default. You can put each group in new transaction controller. As we have different transaction controller, I'll go with the do not group sampler only. One thing I show you in the sampler, that retrieve all embedded resource. So you can check it from here. So by default, it will be checking all the requests while recording. If you don't do that, you need to do it manually. I'm not checking it now. Now, let's say I'll start with this. You'll get this CA certified pop-up. You just need to click on OK. Now, when you start, there is one window pop-up will open from where you can give the names and all. So if you want to give the transaction name, you can give the transaction name. First thing is the, let's say, home page. I'm giving the home page. Now I'll go with to my Firefox. I have a proxy enabled. Okay. In Firefox, what I will do is I'll opensource.orangehrms.com. So it will show you, sometimes it will show you this warning because of this HTTP and HTTPS. You can go with the accept this and continue. So now the site is loaded. Now home page, this site is loaded, so something will be there. So when I go to my thread group, see, these are the home page requests. So this many requests we get in the home page. These are the, you can see starting from here, it's a, you'll get such thing also. You don't require that, you can delete it. Now, this is a server or IP that I'm using, and index.php. That's my first request. Then web size is all this thing. My recording is still going on. Now, I'll do the login, and I'll log into the site. So, which is admin 123. It should work. It's still loading, just bear with me. Here you can say login is there. So request name will have this login and everything. If you have not put anything, it would have given you this validate credential things. So I have recorded my script. So login is also there. Now with login, you can see that I have these parameters. So there is CSRF token required, which is this. Then username, this is a TXT username admin and admin123 and the submit button. So login button I have clicked. And this is a post request. For home, it was get because we are just getting the data. Here we are pushing the data. So this is how you can record your script. So as a best practice, we need to have some few things like cache manager, header manager, etc. in the my script before I start the recording. So JMeter is giving very good thing. You don't need to worry about, or if you don't remember what all the things you want to add. Here is the icon for template. From template, you can select what you want to do. So I am using the recording or recording the think time. So this is a normal recording. It will add the think time by default. So I am selecting this think time and create. I am not saving this. Now you can say user defined variables, HTTP request defaults and cookie manager are there. And this is my test script recorder, which is disabled. I have enabled it. Now I'll go to this retrieve embedded all object. And what I will do is in user defined variable, I'm putting the base URL, and which is the site of Orange HRMS. Okay. Now this base URL, I'll go to the request default, and here any variable you want to call in JMeter, it should be a $sign and the curly braces and base URL. So which I have used, I'm clicking this also. So this is the request default. So when I capture my screen, there will be this base URL. So whenever I want to change, I don't need to change to each and every script because you will have 100, 200, 1000 different requests. You cannot go to each request and change your server IP. What we can do is we can define a variable and we put the variable over here. So I just need to change the things from here. Now you can see this uniform random timer. So it's from around within 100 millisecond, it will randomly it will take some figure and put that time delay between two requests. Now I'll go to 8080 and start. Let's start with the login directly. Again, I'm using Orange HRMS. It will directly give me this. Now I want to apply, so I'll apply for the leave. I'll select a leave type. Let's say it's a personal. 5 leaves I do have, so this date and this date, and then I apply. That's the user scenario I have done. I forgot to put anything is after logins, everything will be in the login only. So let's take a look at JMeter. What is this displaying is? The thread group, I have recording controller. Inside the recording controller, I have this login because I have not changed anything. So you can see this login. Now see, base URL is already there in each and every request. It is login to login 103. Here, so many requests. I'll stop my recording. You can see index.php leave, apply for leave, get request, then again get request, all the get requests, and finally it's a post one. Here it's showing that what time and date I want to apply for leave. So this is where I'm pushing my data. Now this is a base URL. Now let's say I'm testing on QA and it is change to staging, what I need to do instead of this demo, let's say it's a live site, I can use like this and it should work. This is the beauty of request default that you should use along with all the recording. If I go to advanced, see, retry embedded is checked for all my requests. So this is, you need to take care when you are recording your script. Try to use the template. It will be easier and more beneficial. You don't need to do the things from scratch. So this is the one way of recording. So we have seen this recording controller. So recording controller by default we do have with JMeter that you can use. Once you are done with your recording, what you need to do, you need to either disable that or you can remove remove this. So this is how you can record via JMeter. Now there is another thing is you can do it via the BlazeMeter recorder as well. So BlazeMeter has very good browser add-ins available. With that you can record your script. So when I go to this is my Chrome browser. In Chrome browser, I'll use this open Orange HRMS open source site. This BlazeMeter already installed. If you don't have, what you can do is you go to the apps and search for this BlazeMeter in the Chrome Web Store. This is a BlazeMeter recording. I have that. I'll directly use it. So the BlazeMeter recorder. I already logged in, so you will need to log in with that. So this is the site. Now I start with recording. So you just need to click this button, and there are some advanced options, current browser or what you want to use. If you want to ignore some pattern, you can ignore it from here. So let's say I don't want to capture all the JPG file or PNG. You can do over here. I'll go with the default options. So my recording is started. Now I'll open this site. Here also you can put the label if you want. Now login. I'll do the login. It's a capital admin 1, 2, 3 and login. Oh, it is capturing all this data. Now let's say leave. And I'll go to the apply leave. So I have just done till that particular thing. Let's apply leave also, so you have some idea. Personal 3 days only. 6 and apply. So I'm done with my recording, so I'll stop it. Once you stop, you will have this things available. You can directly go and run. It's creating a test and it's running directly. You can save it. So when you go to the save, so it says upload directly run in the BlazeMeter server. See, it's automatically it says open that. It has executed my request. You can directly run from BlazeMeter and you can use in your JMeter. How to use it? You need to go to the save. JMX file as an extension, which is a JMeter file as an extension, JMX. So I'll use JMX and domains to include. If I have like, let's say some other domain also captured, you can filter it out over here and I'll save it. Now I can go and open. So let me, okay. Here I'm opening. It is in my download. Login. Login3.jmx. This is a file. See, user defined variable, request default, everything is there. You can see base URL, and they have given this by request defaults. It's already added over here. This is checked. Now, if you go to the thread group, this is test, login, and leave. Whatever steps I have given over there, BlazeMeter has captured that. So with BlazeMeter, you don't even need to start the proxy. It will do the things by on its own. And sometimes nowadays, most of the sites which has some rich UI and all, JMeter might not able to capture. So BlazeMeter is very good that you can capture it over here. So this is all your request with uniform timer. This is how you can do the recording with BlazeMeter. And third thing is you can do the custom request. Custom request means after all these things, if I feel that, okay, I should have one more request for logout, what I will do is I'll go to this particular, right click on this test or transition controller, add sampler and HTTP request. I can put this as a base URL. So let's say it's a BAC_URL, and this is something logout. So this is also added. So you can add the request by your own also if you want. So this is all about the JMeter recording. So we learn what are the samplers, controllers, and how we can record our script. Once you have recorded the script, then you can start with other activities like correlations and everything, for which Vishal will start. So before that, if you have any questions, I can answer your question, and then we will go with the further thing. I can see some very good chats. So, all right. So if anyone have any question, please raise the hand. AB. Yeah.
Hi, Sarish.
Yeah, hello.
Good morning. Yeah, this is for is my voice audible?
Yes, Farooq.
Yeah. What is your suggestion? Will these embedded resources is required while testing the application?
Yes, it is required. It should be checked. Otherwise, you will not get the exact result. So it should be checked.
Okay.
Okay. AB. Someone in the AB has raised the hand.
Can we include two controllers at a time, like for example, loop controller as well as transaction controller?
Yes, you can do. You can do. So
okay.
Let me show some clip. You will have some more idea. So I have one thread group inside that all the controllers, see, while controller, 4H. So you can have multiple controllers depend on your requirement. Okay, anything else? AB,
hello.
Someone AB is there, yeah.
This is Dipen here. I have a question.
Yeah, Dipen.
In the BlazeMeter recording, I'm not able to see the BlazeMeter has recorded embedded resources as well. So BlazeMeter do some smart recording or what?
No, there will be embedded. It will be checked. It's not checked, you mean to say?
It is not recording the embedded resources request.
Yeah, so by default, it won't do that. So you need to.
So we can enable it.
Yes, you can enable it. Where is my test?
So this is Rishil. Just to clear the confusion, the embedded resources are not the requests. So they are the responses that come from the server. So you will not see in your recording tray. So in recording tray, you will only see the requests. But for that particular request, we can check the retrieve all embedded resource. And if it is checked, then server will respond with all the other files like SVG, PNG, and other embedded resources.
But there will be an impact in the response time.
Yes,
There will
because
be.
yes, if you want to taste a real time, so by default, it should be checked. Yeah.
Let me show you a quick example what happened. You have all the things. This is my transaction controller. Okay, I have this Google. This is www.google.com, and this is not checked. For Yahoo, it is not checked. For Facebook, it is not checked. Now, when I run this, see 383, 1222, 1200 and 462. Now, I'll check this. Remove, run. It may take more time, sir.
So basically, it depends on your requirement. How do you want to mimic your user journey? So if you go to the browser network tab, then there is one option, include XHR or remove it. So if we include XHR, only XHR option, then we will see only the API response, not the embedded resources. So this is the same option we have here in JMeter.
But
Right.
suppose if any CSS or JPEG is missing from while accessing that sending that request to server, then the request will be failed, right?
Yeah, you'll get 401, 404, etc. for that particular request, and you'll share this and error over here. So very first thing, very first requirement before starting any performance test is there should not be any blocker or any broken links. Otherwise, it will result into the error. So you can see Yahoo is taking 4 seconds now, Facebook is taking 4 seconds now because I have checked the embedded resource on.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Shailesh.
All right. Anyone else?
Shailesh, I think we need to include that certificate in Firefox. I think
It
after
depends.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anyone? You can see there are lots of questions or something in chat. All right then, if there is no question, I'll pass on to Rishil and he will continue. So, over to you, Rishil.